What is up, guys? Private Eye Russ here. Welcome to another episode of the Private Eye Russ Show. I am your host, owner, operator, full-service private investigation firm and consulting firm. Criminal defense investigations, litigation support investigations, corporate theft investigations, including intellectual property, embezzlement, what have you. Personal one-on-one, personal development coaching. Everything will be linked in the description below. Visit the website, hit my contact page up, follow me on X at Private Eye Russ, join the Discord server as well too, and let's help us try to grow the community. While we're here, please, it's free for you. Click like, it doesn't cost you anything. Subscribe and share the videos. Again, it doesn't cost you a thing. It's very important to the community so we can share more of this word to more and more people. So some of you are going to be unhappy about this list. I've got another top 5 list. I've got another top 5 list. All right, so this is the top 5 worst, I guess it could be bottom 5, but top 5 worst professions that men are in, not exclusively to men, but we're just focusing on men right now, when it comes to picking and vetting women for long-term relationships. Okay, so as you know, I'm a licensed private investigator, owner of a private investigation firm and consulting firm, and I deal with a lot of guys who need consulting about cheating or about whether or not their spouse is cheating. That is one of the services I offer, as well as investigations into whether or not they are, whether it's digital or in up close and personal, up to and including surveillance. All right, so this is not I'm not going to put anybody's names out. Obviously not putting anybody's names out, not here to shame anybody. However, these are the professions that I have found have been the absolute worst when it comes to picking women. All right. Number 5, when it comes to picking long-term relationship partners, spouse, or whatever it might be, when it comes to picking women, athletes. Whether they're in college and they get married or professional athletes, you guys absolutely suck when it comes to picking women that are going to be good long-term relationship partners. When I say good long relationship partners, I'm speaking specifically from the standpoint of cheating. These guys get cheated on so much. That's why, I always cringe whenever I hear people say, oh, if you're this tall, athletic, good looking, make a certain amount of money, that everything's going to be good. That is a lie, guys. Do not believe this nonsense. That is surface level thinking. We have to think a lot deeper than surface level. These guys, they're busy. They travel a lot. They have a ton of money. And what happens is, that woman that they married, things might have started out very sincerely, but here's what's going to happen. She's going to be friends with some of the older or more mature athletes who have older, mature wives who have been around the block. And here's what's going to happen. They're going to start whispering in their ear, hey, we're going to girls' night out. Hey, we're going to girls' lunch. Hey, we're going on a girls' trip. We're doing this and that and the other thing. We've seen it recently with Steph Curry and his wife, Ayesha Curry. She's going out and living her best life while she's a married woman, posting thirst traps and all the rest of these things. Why? Because she feels left out. Her husband gets a whole bunch of attention. She's out. Now, he probably doesn't have a problem with this. Maybe they have some kind of arrangement, or he's just one of those dudes that just doesn't care. Whatever the case is, I know most of you guys will. And so what will happen is those older women that have been around for a while, they will start whispering in this new wife's ear. Hey, girl, you know what? Your husband's out doing this and that and this and that and the other thing. And in a lot of cases, those guys are. Let's be real. A lot of times those guys are out there slinging D left and right whenever they get a chance to. All right, and so then the cheating wives club will get in these women's ears, and they start telling them, look, this is what we do. Then you need to do the same thing. Why? There's comfort in numbers, and so they will bring them along, and next thing you know, that wife that you thought was sitting at home is out there being investigated by Private Eye Russ and getting boasted, doing all types of chicanery and whatever else, right? So that's number 5. Number 4, this will not be a surprise to anybody who has been in this profession, all right? Police officers, law enforcement, whether you're police, sheriff's deputy, state police, highway patrol, federal law enforcement, suck at picking long-term relationship partners. The amount of cheating that goes on with cops' wives, all across the spectrum, is unbelievable. The same thing goes for firefighters. So I guess we could say first responders in general. Why? Opportunity. So, well, and again, also too, you got the wives that are going to be telling each other, "Look, your husband's out there messing around." Cops have a thing called badge bunnies, women who just like humping cops. And that is not just local cops, that goes all the way up to the federal level. Even military police get badge bunnies throwing themselves at them. And so, and whether the guy is or not, the other wives will convince them that they are, because everybody tends to be very clannish when it comes to cops, especially. Cops hang out with cops, cops' wives hang out with other cops' wives. That's just how it goes, whether it's local, federal, state, or whatever. And so they'll be telling each other, "Hey, look, your husband's doing this." Well, he may or may not be doing that. He may or may not be stepping out, but they'll convince them to, and they will join them. Why? Again, numbers. Misery loves company. Some people will self-destruct and bring each other along to to be destroyed as well too, and destroy their relationships. And next thing you know, you're going to be calling me up saying, "Hey, well, cops not so much, because cops are usually pretty good about digging out answers on their own. They'll call up their friends or their other detectives." There was a case here really, really famously where a female detective decided to have an affair on her detective husband, and obviously that didn't work out for very long. And she was doing it with other cops too. And when I say doing it with other cops, I mean, like, I won't go into detail, but she was recruiting dudes that were in the academy. That's a whole story by itself, but I knew her as well too. Not in that way. My God, I probably shouldn't even have said that. Not that way. I met. We all met her in the police academy. She was a detective then, and she was throwing it around to everybody. She was married to a detective. Who would think that she would have gotten caught? You're married to somebody who's going to be suspicious and somewhat paranoid anyway, just by nature of their job. And yeah, she got busted. But cops in general are really bad at picking long-term relationships partners. All right, so. Next on the list, number 3. Some of you know I do have a military history. I don't really go into it because the vet bro community is absolutely probably one of the most toxic, if not the most toxic community on social media. I want no part of it. So I don't really go into details. All right. So, but military guys, how many guys do we know in the military? Probably more than 50% of military guys, especially if they're being deployed, are being cheated on. All right. I'm going to say probably 50% or more are being cheated on. Guys will go out on a weekend and meet a girl on a Friday night and get married to her on Sunday and then get deployed on Monday. All right. And then wonder why these women that they don't have any history with, they didn't vet, they didn't put through any sort of testing, they didn't get them to let them prove themselves, and they gave them access to all the things they have, and they're getting deployed. My take is this: if you are getting deployed, or if there's a chance of you getting deployed, if you're in the military, there's a chance of you getting deployed. Guys who are going to get deployed should not get married. Yes, I said it. No, you should not get married. And someone will say, "Oh, well, I got married and I got deployed and I'm still married." Okay, fine, good for you. You're one of the few. If people are honest with you, here's what I tell people to do: go to a Navy base. Go to a military base, like an MEU, where guys are getting deployed. Go to an Army base, like, say, Fort Bragg or wherever it might be, and check out the nightclubs. Go to bars and nightclubs, whatever the most popular place is. Go to a bar and nightclub, especially Norfolk, Virginia. It's famous for this. Okay, so you go to Norfolk, Virginia, and say, for instance, an aircraft carrier group goes on a cruise somewhere. All right, so an aircraft carrier doesn't travel by itself. It travels with a whole crew. It travels with a gang, okay? And the last thing you want to see off your shores, if you are at odds with the United States of America, is a United States Navy aircraft carrier group off your shores. If you see that off your shores and you're at odds with the United States of America, you are in harm's way. No doubt about it. You are in harm's way. I don't think people understand the power an aircraft carrier group brings along with it. All right, that's just a side note. But what you'll see is this: if you go to that nightclub before that aircraft carrier group goes on cruise, and then the day they go on cruise, because they all leave pretty much together, And they all, because they're literally floating bodyguards and supply ships and hospital ships, and they'll even send a helo carrier along with it with a bunch of MEU Marines. You don't want to be on the wrong end of those dudes, and just a whole bunch of pain and electronic surveillance, electronic warfare. It's really, really an awesome sight when you see those things. The only thing I miss now is, I won't go into that. But anyway, so you see so many different. You'll see the clubs empty, or women going out there with their husbands while the ships are in port, and when they leave, the place will be flooded with single. Well, I mean, they're by themselves. They're not single. They're married. Single women out at clubs with tan lines around their ring fingers, and they will be out serving out the JJ like a dealer in Vegas. It's really something to see. And so just look at that. So military guys, whether you're Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, even Coast Guard, you guys suck at picking long-term relationship partners just because you seem to think that having a wife when you go somewhere to do whatever you have to do is a necessity. I don't get it. I don't understand why guys do it, but it happens a lot. Okay, so that was number 3. Number 2 is going to surprise you guys because these are very well-educated people, but they make really, really bad choices when it comes to long-term relationship partners. All right, number 2 on the list of professions that are horrible at picking and vetting long-term relationship partners, with some exceptions, obviously. Attorneys. Sorry, attorneys, you guys suck at picking long-term relationship partners. How many cases have I been on where attorneys have hired me to find documentation that their spouse were stepping out? Quite a few. It's unfortunate when anybody gets cheated on. But again, we talk about opportunity. These guys are working a ton of hours. The better the attorney is, the more hours he's going to spend at the office. Let me say it again. The better they are at their job, all right, their managing partner is going to keep them working. Why? Because that's more profit. And so, if you got a really good attorney, he's going to be busting his tail. He's going to be in the office a lot, or he's going to be in the courtroom, or he's going to be doing research or whatever it might be. No matter how big his staff is, he's going to be working a ton. And so it's not unheard of for attorneys, successful attorneys, to be in their office 12, 15, 16 hours a day. I knew one attorney who was a criminal defense guy. He was really, really good at what he did. He's passed away. I did some work for his firm, several times before his passing. He's passed away, years ago. A gentleman named Mike Decembre. Mike Decembre was a workaholic and probably the best dressed attorney I've ever met. But he was a workaholic, man. Like, this guy would be in the office 18 hours. And unfortunately, he wound up passing away in his office, massive heart attack or stroke, and stroke after that. And he just never recovered. God rest his soul. Rest in peace to him, and condolences to his family. But this guy worked hard. Has nothing to do with what I'm talking about now. I'm just talking about, just giving a comparison. These guys work a lot of hours. And so they're gone a bunch. Then a contributing factor, and I hate to say this, but okay, the best attorneys I know are borderline sociopaths. They're crazy. Some narcissistic, some just really everything has to revolve around them. Now, having said that, if you are fighting for your life or your freedom, or you're trying to avoid having to pay a bunch out in a lawsuit, or you're trying to win a bunch of money in a lawsuit, you want a self-absorbed, self-possessed, narcissistic sociopath on your side, trying to eke out every shekel, every dime, every penny, every coin that they can for you, or to save you from having to put out a bunch of money, or to keep you from going to the gallows. That's what you want working for you. I know, people think I'm being insulting, but the best attorneys I know meet those descriptions. Sorry. Now, if you have that kind of personality, after a while, women are going to get tired of dealing with somebody like that, because a lot of these guys can't turn it off. I've met a lot of attorneys that, they'll cross-examine everybody. They'll cross-examine their children, and they'll cross-examine their wives, and who's going to put up with that long-term? Not very many people will. Anyway, so that's attorneys. That's number 2. So the final one is going to be a big surprise to people. For me, it was surprising just watching, and I'll explain why I think these guys go through it a ton when it comes to vetting and picking women. Doctors, sorry, sorry, doctors. You guys you guys are the worst at picking and vetting women. All right, so I've worked on a ton of cases where doctors have said, hey, I want to find out, I think my wife might be stepping out on me. And almost in every single case, it was, yes, they are stepping out on them. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of bias because if they didn't think there was something wrong, they wouldn't reach out to me. I get that, okay? So let's go ahead and set that aside. But part of the reason is this. Okay, number one, we talk about opportunity. They're gone a lot. They're working a ton of hours. If they're working at a hospital, they're going to be gone a ton. They're going to be gone a lot. Now, female doctors are completely different. They're a lot more, they're a lot slicker when it comes to vetting. Now, I had one client, he wasn't married to her yet. He actually hired me to do a very deep background investigation on his fiance. He was actually really good, but the guy was very, very methodical, incredibly analytical, and he removed all emotion from that decision-making process, which is the smart way to go because, it is a business decision to get married to somebody. And she led the most disciplined life I've ever seen of anybody I've done a background check on, and she scored the lowest. Yes, I do assign a score for people to know whether they're male or female, hey, if this person is low risk or high risk. And sometimes there are very specific criteria they're looking for. This guy wanted to know what she'd been up to, and he actually scored really, really well. Shout out to him. He knows who he is. I won't put his name out there. The rest of you are horrible. You will get married to women based on looks. You get married because, you get infatuated or whatever else. And the reason a lot of doctors are susceptible to this, and we don't think about this, most doctors were nerds, and they're still nerds. Just because they're making a ton of money, they got a nice car. They seem to be obsessed with Porsches and Mercedes-Benzes. Don't know why. Don't know why. No, well, they're great cars. Not Mercedes so much, except for the G-Wagon. G-Wagons make great cars, especially the older ones. I don't like the newer ones with all the electronics, like the G55 AMG. Love that car. But they love Porsches as well, too. I get it. Porsche makes a great sports car. But when it comes to picking women, you guys are nerds. And so because you guys are nerds, you're not able to see through the gold digger nature of a lot of the women that are going to seek you out. Most women want to be married to a doctor because that represents status. It also represents financial stability. And so you guys are marrying women that don't really love you. They're barely attracted to you for the most part. And when they have an opportunity, they're going to be linking up with Jim Dandy while you're at the office or playing golf. And so doctors are number one on the list. Let me know what you guys think as far as professions go. I do have another list of number 6 to 10, but that'll be in another video later on down the line. Please like, subscribe, share, get in the comment section, join the Discord server, follow me on X. If you do need a private investigator, go to my website, hit the contact page. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. All right. Anyway, this is your boy, Private Eye Russ. I will talk to you guys in the next one. I'm out.